Thank you, Debs. Without any further ado again, welcome everyone and good morning. It is my pleasure this morning to introduce Warryck, who is a senior functional consultant at Resolve Red, a premier JD Edwards implementation and support partner based here in Centurion, Gauteng. With over 2 decades of experience, Warryck has built a remarkable track of delivering ERP and system solutions across Africa. Since joining Resolve Red in 2018, he has successfully led complex JD Edwards implementations, upgrades, and integrations, helping clients optimize their systems and maximize business value. Please join me then in welcoming Warryck. Looking forward to a wonderful session this morning. Warryck, with that, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much. Let me first start sharing my screen. Okay, so good morning, everyone. I'm Warryck Dromgoole, an application solution architect for Resolve Red. As mentioned, I have many years experience in JDE Edwards, and I would like to welcome you to our webinar on enterprise widgets, where I'll be showing you how widgets can transform your user experience and boost productivity. So I believe widgets are awesome as it allows your data to come from an orchestrator or a logic extension. Your data can be displayed as badges, text box, or even charts and meters. So these widgets will help you monitor your KPIs in real time, and all this can be displayed on your personal landing page. So whether you're a developer, functional consultant, sysadmin, or a JDE Edwards user, this session will show you how to create dynamic and visual dashboards directly on your enterprise one page. So there's no need to connect to a third-party BI tool. So you can create, publish, and visualize your data that an orchestrator can produce, and you can place it directly on your compose page. And that data can even come from an external source. So what are some of the features of widgets? So you can use them to improve your productivity by having data outside, by accessing data outside of your application. So there's no need for you to be in the application to see the data. So as an example, if I wanting to know what my value of all my AP invoices are, or my open AP invoices, I can have a widget on my landing page that will give me that value. No need to go into the supply ledger inquiry, go and select the open all the open invoices and scroll down to the bottom. That value is readily available on my page. And you can personalize how that data is displayed. So you can have it as a badge, meter, chart, or you can even have it as a text box. And you can have quick information to everything that you view as important on your landing page. Just some examples on this page. On the top left, I can see what my rand-dollar exchange rate is. I can go and see what my highest supplier open supply is. I can go and see what my highest open supplier value is. I can have a pie chart. I can have a bar chart. I can have a meter, and I can even go and fetch some text data. So enterprise one widgets have evolved from the concept of one view watch list by allowing the source of your data to come from your orchestrator output. So if we have to look at a watch list, the data would always come from a query, and it would always come from a row count from a specific application. But now, your data can come from an orchestrator. So I can display my AP open amount, or your data doesn't even have to be a number. So I can go and fetch text, and I can go and see which supplier is my highest open supplier. And the content doesn't even have to be a badge. It can be a meter, or it can be a chart. And even nicer, it's really great, is that data that you display on your page can even come from an external source. So you can connect through an API to go and retrieve data from an external source, and you can have it displayed on your landing page. So in release 25 from tools 9.9.2.3, you will notice a new icon in your Orchestrator Studio, circled in red, called widgets. So if you're not currently, or if you are currently on an earlier release, you're more than welcome to contact Resolve Red for a code current solution that will allow you, give you access to the latest and the greatest features. When you select this widget icon, you'll be able to create different types of widgets. Like you can have a badge, you can have a meter, chart, or a text box. So what I'm displaying on the screen at the moment is a quick close page that Resolve Red has developed. And you can use this to go and view how your month-end activities are progressing. So on this page, we have various integrities. So we've got the online integrities that you would do at month-end from GL, AP, accounts receivable, and fixed assets. On the left-hand side, we've created a watch list pane. So we've used a combination of watch lists and widgets where you can see your future data transactions. You can see your AP invoices currently in a payment run. We can see your batches in error, and we can see your batches out of balance. So we don't need to go into the various applications. So I don't need to click all over the show to go and see, am I ready for month end? Is everything posted? Can I close? I can use these widgets and these watch lists to go and tell me that information. So at the moment, I can go and look that there are 200 batches in error and there are 200 plus batches not posted. So without running any reports or going and doing any inquiries, I know there's an action point that needs to happen before I can close my month end. So you can also have these meter badges. So if I'm looking on the right-hand side, I've created a meter badge that looks at my AP module. So if I'm looking at my AP module, I can see that my AP open amount is this 838K and my AP GL balance is 12 mil. I haven't run any report. I haven't gone into my trial balance, and immediately I can see that I've got issues between my AP module and my GL. So I know something needs to action. I can phone or I can contact the AP manager to go and resolve those issues without even going into run any sort of reports. The same thing with my GRN. I can look at what my GRN amount is. Normally you would go and run an open GRN report, look at the total at the bottom, and then you'd go into your account balance by month and you would go and look at what my balance is, get out your calculator and go and see what the difference is. Straight away, I can see that the two are not in sync with each other. You can do the same from an AR. Another widget that we created on this page is we're looking at sales invoices that are not updated. So if you know the sales module, you would normally invoice and then you would do a sales update, which will write the entries to GL and to AR. I know I've got sales invoices here that have not been updated. So that is telling me that if I close my month in at the moment, I've got sales that are not reflecting in my debtors. And they're also not reflecting in my GL. If I had to take the sales invoices that are not updated from a cost perspective, automatically I'm also going to know I'm going to have an issue with my inventory, that those entries have gone off my Cardex, but they haven't been sales updated. So there's going to be a difference in the balances between my Cardex and my GL. So I haven't run any reports. I've stayed on this page and it's telling me all this information through the use of widgets. The two charts at the bottom are looking at my AP unposted entries and my AR unposted entries. I know now that I need to post those entries. Otherwise, the values that I'm going to report for month end are going to be incorrect. They're not going to be displaying the total balance as they have not been posted yet. So it's quite a nice feature to have, gives you a nice visual as to where I am, what do I need to do. And then just for fun on this page, what we did is we went to go and fetch the weather in Denver and what the forecast is. So that is done. We don't store the weather information in JDE Edwards. So through an external API, we went to go and connect to a weather app, and we return what the weather is. Quite a useful feature that you can do is if the foreign currency or the rand dollar exchange rate is important to you at month end, or even during the month, we've also connected to an external API to go and fetch what the rand dollar exchange rate is. So this page is totally customizable. You can put all the information that you require on this page. And as you've heard me talking, I've mentioned a lot of things that need to be done to complete your month end. And I haven't clicked anywhere. I haven't gone anywhere. All that information is readily available on the page. And if you would like something like this in your environment, you're more than welcome to contact Resolve Red. Okay, so how do we do this? Okay, so I'll be taking you through a couple of slides, showing you how to create these different widgets. And then afterwards, I'm going to log into our Orchestrator Studio, and we are actually going to do some of these widgets. And then I'll also show you how we can actually put them on your Enterprise One page. So the first widget that we have is a badge widget. So if I'm looking on the right here, I'm seeing this parts emporium. That is my highest open supplier. And how do we do that? So when we click on the widget icon in Orchestrator Studio, it will take you to the widgets design page, where you will enter a name for your widget, you'll put a description in, and then you would choose your widget type, whether I want a badge, meter, chart, or text box. So in this case, I am selecting a badge, so I will click on the badge option. And because I'm returning text, I'm going to select that it's going to be a text badge. The next thing to do is you'll connect to your data source. So when you click on the data source tab, the first thing that you will do is you will select your orchestrator. So we have already written the orchestrator, and you now link your widget to the orchestrator. Your orchestrator would have output. So in your output section, you'll select what do I want to return from the orchestrator to display in this widget. And I am selecting the address book number description. And then I can click on the preview button. And when I click on the preview button, it will return the highest supplier name, which is Parts Emporium. And that's by it running the orchestrator. So that is a text widget badge. The next badge that we can have is a numeric badge. So we know that Parts Emporium was the highest open supplier, but now we also want to display the amount. So that 2.8 mil there, we want to display that. So when we click on the widget icon, we select our widget type, which would be a badge. And in this case, it's going to be a numeric badge. Now, your values can be quite high. It can go into the millions or billions. So you can choose to use a short format when you display the information on the widget badge. So you would select to use the short format, and you can select how many decimals that you want to display. Then you would click on your data source. So I am choosing my orchestrator. This is the same orchestrator that we used in the in the last one to return the supplier name. However, this time our output, we are choosing to display the open amount. So when we choose the open amount, we can select the preview option, and then we have your highest supplier open amount, which is the 2.8 mil. Okay, and then our next widget that we're wanting to do, these are the nice funky ones. So when you select the widget, I can now choose that I want to display the data as a meter. When you select meter, you have various options for the meter. So you can have an arc, circular, horizontal, or vertical meter. You choose your applicable meter that you're wanting to display. So in this case, I have selected the arc, and once again, I am using the short number format to display the value as in a shortened format, and the orchestrator or the widget will automatically determine whether I need to put million behind it, billion behind it, or K for 1,000. So in my data source, I will select the orchestrator that I'm wanting to use. So in this case, I'm using this orchestrator, and my output, I am choosing my open amount. Okay. Next widget that we can do is we can choose a chart. So when I select the widget, I'll choose the chart option. As soon as you choose the chart option, you can select your chart type. So you can have a bar, line, area, pie, or funnel. And you can choose whether you want to show the legend or not, and also your orientation. Do I want to have it vertically, horizontally, stacked, or unstacked? The next thing you do is you would go and select your orchestration. So you've got your orchestration here. In this case, there's quite a couple of data requests that we are going to go and fetch. So when we're looking at the output, we are returning 4 different outputs from the orchestrator. And I can now go and click on the preview, and I can see my 4 different criteria, or my 4 different outputs, which is my open amount, my unposted invoices, unposted payments, or my unposted GR. All that data is coming from the orchestrator. So anything you define in the orchestrator as output is available to be selected in your chart with the widget. And let's go to the final one, which is a text box. So when you click on the widget, you will choose the text box option. So when you choose the text box option, you don't have criteria where you are selecting whether it's numeric or text. It's defaulting to text. Your data source, you would select your orchestrator to link to the widget, and then you would select your output. So in our output, we have selected to display the detailed forecast, and here's a preview of what that widget would look like. Okay, now we get to the fun part. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to log on to our Orchestrator Studio, and we are going to go and create a badge widget, a meter widget, a chart widget, a text box, and we are also going to go and create a compose page, and we're going to go and put those widgets on the page. So in JDE Widgets, I'm going to log on to the Orchestrator Studio. Okay, so this is the Orchestrator Studio, and now you have this widgets icon. So when I click on the widgets icon, it will display all my widgets that I have created. But what we want to do is we want to create a new widget. So I will click on the new option. Now, the first thing that you're going to do is you need to give this widget a name. So I'm going to call this one, just call it for the SIG, and let's say we're going to do the supplier highest open value. Let's make this version 10 because I've done a few like this. So we can take that name and we can, oops. Open version 10. Okay, didn't like my characters. Okay, I've copied that into my description. And I'm also going to choose that it is a badge. And I'm going to give it a title. So because I've chosen a badge, my default badge type, I can either be a numeric or text. So I'm going to choose text. My next step is, where am I going to get the information from? So I'm going to choose my data source. So when I click on the data source, it's going to ask me to select my orchestrator. So I'll select my orchestrator. I'm going to go and find my orchestrator. So that's the highest AP open supplier. So I've selected that. Now the next part would be, what do I want to display as an output? So when I click on the output section, I can choose, I can either display the open amount sum or the address book. Because I've chosen a text badge, I want to display the description. So I'm going to display the description. So I've selected the orchestrator, I've selected my output. Now I can go and preview it. Okay, it will ask you to save before you are previewing. And there it is saying parts Emporium and the title next to it, because that would be the title that I put there. You can put a descriptive title and that's what it would display. And we can see that it's getting my information from the orchestrator, and it's returning the open amount and parts Emporium. Because I chose to return the address book, it is showing the address book in the widget. So I'm going to save that. Now, I'm also wanting to go and see what was the value of that parts Emporium. What was the value? So I can go into widgets and I'm going to go new, and let's say I'm going to call this supplier open amount value. I'm just saying, calling it version 10 to group them all together. I'm choosing a badge. I'm giving it a title. This time I'm selecting my badge type as numeric. As soon as I select numeric, I can choose to show it in a short item format, and I can choose to display how many decimals do I want to display. So let's display 3 decimals. Then I choose my data source. In my data source, I will select the orchestrator. And it's going to be the same orchestrator that I used in the last one. So I'm choosing that orchestrator. And now I choose my output. So my value is numeric here. So I'm choosing my open sum. And I'm happy. I can go and preview it. It will ask me to save it. Okay. So you'll see the output is exact from the same orchestrator, but now it's displaying my 2.823 million. So we've created these 2 badge widgets now. So let's go and attach that on our Enterprise One page. So I'm going to sign out here, and I'm going to log into JDE, into my Enterprise One page. Okay, so let me choose a different page. Okay. So what we can do is we can create a page from scratch. So I'm going to select my compose page. Okay, so that was the compose page that I was on. And let's go and create a new page. So this is a start to create your new page. I'm going to select the add icon and I'm going to add a designer page to it. So you can call this SIG 240725. Okay, so that is just the name that you're going to have on your designer. And then you can choose how many columns do you want to display, how many rows you want to display. The default's 5. I'm going to choose OK. And it's got a default page created for myself. And in the settings here, I'm going to choose that I'm wanting to display large icons. Okay, so that's one section of my page completed. Let's say I wanted to add a watch list to my page, and I'm going to add a watch list pane over there. That's SIG watch list. And I'm going to make it empty. So it's not going to have anything. So here I've got the basics of a page. So that would be the start of how you're going to create your page. I'm going to add one or two tiles. So if I'm going to add a tile, I'm going to add an application to the tile. And I'm going to choose, I want to bring in the supply ledger inquiry. And let me choose my form that I'm wanting to display. That's fine. And I can choose when I'm doing this tile, I can choose, do I want to add watch lists to this tile? So I'm saying, yes, let me add some watch lists. And you've got a default style there. I could make it the default style. And what do I want to call this? Let's say supplier ledger inquiry. And I've created that tile. If I'm not happy with how it looks, I can go and change it to a different style if I wanted to. If I wanted to make it a box, it could look like that. Okay, and I'm not going to put an image on it like that. I'm going to add another tile or another task. So I'm going to add another application and going to add that. And I'm going to call this the supplier payment inquiry. Okay, so that's my supply payment inquiry. I'm going to make it so that I can add some watch list to it also. Okay, change it. If I don't like the default there, let's make it a box. And you can also choose the colors. So let's make this one green just for the fun of it. And then we can also put some connectors to it. So we can connect these two together. So you've got a visual of, first I'm going to do supply ledger inquiry, then I'm going to go into my supplier payment inquiry. I can save this, so I can give it a name. Okay, so here's my starting point. Now let's go and add those two widgets that we created. So I can add those widgets to my watch list. I can also go and add those widgets to my different tiles. It allows 4 widgets or 4 watch lists to be added to your tile, or I can go and add it to my connector block. How do I do that? I can just click on my connector block and say I want to allow watch list to it. So in the watch list pane, I can click on add. And let's say we want to bring in the value. So remember, I created everything with the version 10. So I can bring that in there, and I can bring that in there. I can also go and attach it to my tile. I can go and attach it to the bottom tile if I wanted to. And I can also go and attach it to the connector block if I wanted to. And let's do that. Okay, if I save that, So those widgets that are created in the Orchestrator Studio, I can now display it in my watch list pane, so I can see my supply with my highest open amount, which is the 2.8 mil, and I can see which supply. Oh, I did it wrong there. I didn't bring in the supplier name. So I can go in and change that. So I could delete that one, and I want to bring in the name this time. And save. Okay, so there I can see that it's Parts Emporium for that value, and I've attached it to the tile, and I've attached the watch list to the tile also. So let's go and create some other widgets. So I've got the sign out, and I'm going to go back into Orchestrator Studio. Okay, so I'm going to choose widgets. Here's my widgets that I created earlier, and I'm going to choose new this time. I'm going to give it a name, and we're going to call this meter AP open amount. And let's make it version 10 just to be consistent. And last time I selected badge. This time I'm going to select meter. I'm going to give it a title. So as soon as I've selected the meter, I can choose whether it must be an arc, whether it must be circular, horizontal, or vertical. I'm going to stick with the arc. I'm going to choose the short number format, and let's go with 4 decimals this time. Next step, create my data source and select my orchestrator. So this time I'm going to select this orchestrator. So I've chosen my orchestrator. Now my next bit is, what do I want to show as my output? So I want to show my open amount. So I'm choosing to display the open amount. And what will this widget look like? So if I go to preview, it's going to ask me to save. And there's my widget. It is displaying as an arc. If I go back to the definition, I could display it circular and preview it. And then it's going to display it circular. I'm going to save that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a chart now. And then once I've created the chart, I will go back into our page and I will go and add that to our Enterprise One page. So widgets, new. Let's go SIG chart, AP, version 10. Okay, and now I'm choosing chart. So when I've chosen the chart, I can give it a title. So now once I've selected the chart, I can choose whether it should be a bar chart, line chart, area, pie, or funnel. So let's go with the bar, and the default is vertical and unstacked. Let's go and change that. We want to display that as horizontal. And we're going to click on the data source. We're going to select the orchestration. So I'm choosing my orchestration that I'm going to be using. And now I must select my the output that I'm wanting to display on the chart. So I want the open amount, I want the gross amount, payment amount, and open amount. And then you link it to a series name. So that's going to be my open amount. That's going to be my gross amount, payment amount, and my sum. So once I've got that, I can go and preview what it looks like. So that is my chart that it is displaying. So I'm going to save that. And let's sign out of the Orchestrator Studio, and we go back into JDE Widgets. Okay, we go and find our page. So that is the page that we created. And we want to add those charts. So we just go and manage. And I can choose where do I want to display the chart or the meter. So now I choose, I want to bring a widget in. And which widget do I want to bring in? So I could bring in my meter. What you can also do on your meter, you can also go and assign, or on your widget, you can also go and assign watch lists if you want to. So you can get more information attached to your widget if you choose to. So let's choose to do that. So I can click OK. If I'm not happy with it, I can change it and I can say, you know what, I don't want, for this style, let me choose no box for the meter. And I can take that out. So when it's displayed, it's not going to display with the blue color behind it because I've chosen no box. I can now add my chart. So I go down and I go and choose my widget. And I am now going to bring in my chart. The style of this, I can put a light box around it. And I can also choose to associate a watch list to it. Okay, so that's how it's going to look. Let's go and add a watch list to it. So let's go and add that to it over there. And on this one, we could add a watch list. Could add that one there. When I'm happy, I will click Save. And let's go and see what it looks like. Okay, so here's my widget, which is going to show my open amount for AP. I've defaulted the description in here. If I don't like that, I can go to settings and let's call this AP open amount. And we can save it. And if we go out, yeah, so there's going to be the AP open amount. I want to go and do one more widget. So let's go and do the text box. And I'm going to select my widget. I'm going to choose new. Let's call this weather forecast. Okay, and I'm going to choose a text box and I'm going to give it a title. Because I've chosen text box, nothing further to select. So I'll go to my data source and I'm going to choose my orchestrator. I'm going to go and look for my weather forecast orchestrator. Now, with this orchestrator or with this orchestrator connects to an external API, so I'm going to be returning data outside of my system. And the orchestrator is designed to go and require input. So you can go and input which area do I want or which grid points do I want when I'm looking at the weather forecast. So I'm going to put my defaults in here. Okay, and I'm going to choose my output. So I'm looking for the detail forecast, and I'll go and preview it. So it's going to return, if I'm looking at the whole orchestrator output, mostly cloudy, low around 62. It's going to retrieve that information there. So I'm going to go and save that. Close. I'm going to go add that to my page. Signing in. I'm going to go find my page that I've created. So there's my page. And because I'm wanting to add it, I'm going to click on my manage content, my compose page. Oh, it looks like I ran out of space. Let me go and create some more rows. And it's going to add it here. Choose my widget. Select my widget. I am looking for my weather forecast. Now, because it requires input, the orchestrator, when you add it to your page, you can now default the inputs when you've added this widget. So I could use the same widget to display multiple weather locations, but when I'm creating it, I'm putting the input in it. So I can reuse the same widget multiple times. Every time I add it to my page, I can put a different input to my orchestrator. Okay, can click OK. And how do we want to display this? So let's make this a box. Actually, let's not make this a box. Let's make this a light box. And we can have it with red around it. And we can click OK. So if we now save this, we can go out if we wanted to. But I want to add, just for time's sake, I just want to add another widget here that I have already created. So let me go and find, what do I want to do? I can go and look for one. These are all the widgets that I've got. So I can add that there as well if I wanted to. And I can click save. And if I close, so it's returning my text box. So what we've created today is we've created a badge widget with returning the value. We've created a badge widget returning from a badge widget text. We created some tiles, and on the tiles we have attached a widget on the top returning the open amount, a widget on the bottom that's returning the supply that's got the highest open balance. We've attached widgets to a connector block, and attached another one. You allowed 2 widgets to a connector block. We've brought in a meter widget. We have brought in a chart widget. We've brought in a text widget, and we've brought in, this is a badge, and it's just going to show you the value, but you can also take that badge and you can attach it to a tile if you wanted to. So earlier on, I showed you the Resolve Red Quick Close page. And this is what it looks like in real life. So this is the page that we have developed, where you've got your different watch lists, you've got your different integrities on there. You'll notice on the different widgets, you've got this refresh button here, and it will show you when last the widget's refreshed. If you had made changes, so you can set the default to however many minutes you want. If you're wanting to refresh it, you can just click on the refresh button, and it will refresh the widgets. And that is my show and tell on widgets. Thank you very much. Okay, are there any questions?
Thank you, sir. Colleagues, we do have a few minutes if there are any questions or comments. While those have been gathered, just one from my end, Warryck. I'm not familiar with the product to that extent, but I'm just curious to understand if there are any licensing or commercial implications with the use of certain widgets, or do those come standard out of the box or with each release?
So it's standard it's in release 25 9 and with a 9.2.2.3 release, and those would be standard functionality that you get with the Orchestrator Studio.
Okay, so no additional license implications.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Just checking on the charts if we've got any comments or questions or any hands. Okay, none at this stage. Again, Warryck, thank you very much for coming through this morning. We do appreciate your partnership as the South African Oracle User Group. Key to mention that we do have the conference coming up, an emphasis to our introduction, the 9th to the 11th of November at Misty Hills in Johannesburg. Colleagues, if you'd like to join us, the registrations are open. Do visit our website. It's www.saoug.co.za. Under the conference tab, you'll be able to get all the details and the platform to proceed with the registrations. The resolve rate are also our